in those, yeah. And I've heard that those bean pies are very tasty.
Very good.
I love bean pies.
No.
And you go, honey, I brought, you'd say your wife is pissed off at you because, you've been coming home late every day, lipstick on your collar, and all you got to say is, honey, I got us a bean pie.
From
but
Martin Luther King Boulevard, you got to go to get those bean pies.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's correct.
But,
so
bean pies, free bean pies for all our listeners tonight. I think we should get
now,
4 or 5 ready.
Joe remembers. By the way, Joe remembers my father's interview with Robert Sacchi, who was a Humphrey Bogart lookalike.
That was great.
By the way, Robert Sacchi wrote Saturday Night. I don't know, it was Saturday Night Heroes, and it was about the fight game in the 50s. And I don't know if some of these guys you'll remember, but the main character was Willie Pep.
Willie Pep, yeah. I know Willie Pep.
That, if you look at that guy and you just see if you look at some of his old footage, he was just so fast. He's like, I like watching him better.
He was a middleweight? Was he a middleweight?
No, he was a featherweight. Like a bantamweight, I think. He might have been lightweight. He was really small. But
Willie Pep.
Yeah. You look at him, and he was just. I always thought he was really amazing.
I have been watching documentaries lately, and I watched one last night called Fastball.
Mm-hmm.
And Google Steve Delkowski. Juice producer, Google Steve Delkowski. This is an interesting man that they talk about. These people, these documentaries are really interesting to me. I find them interesting.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to negotiate a deal.
Funny you mentioned Humphrey Bogart.
What's the name? What's the name?
Steve Delkowski, Delkowski. Steve Delkowski. But I was watching Treasure of the Sierra Madre the other night because you mentioned Humphrey Bogart, and they were talking about when Humphrey Bogart died here. And they said that this fucking guy, you wouldn't even recognize him. It's his last year of life. But it was an interesting movie. One of my favorite movies, Treasure of the Sierra Madre. And he throws water in Robert Blake's face in that movie. I like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I tell him Willie Boy's here.
Electro Guide in Blue.
Yeah, I love that movie too, by the way. But that was an issue. Bogey.
Well, he married a woman. He married a woman 25 years his junior.
A Jewish woman.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Lauren Bacall. Yeah, she was hot. She was hot, man.
And he had with his cancer, they said he had shriveled down to 95 pounds.
Yeah, they said he was unrecognizable. Yeah.
And
so did you find Steve Delkowski?
Was he a tribesman? Born in 1939.
Wait, is that the former pitcher?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, he has an interesting story. He was famous for his unpredictable performance and inability to control his pitches. His alcoholism and violent behavior off the field caused him problems during his career and after his retirement. And after he retired from baseball, he spent years as an alcoholic, making a meager living as a manual laborer. Recovered in the 90s.
He threw the hardest of anybody. Nolan Ryan, he's legendary. Goose Gossage talked about him. Everybody talked about this guy. I never heard of him.
It says 110 miles an hour.
Yeah, this guy. What? He never made it to the major leagues. I think he pitched 3 innings and his elbow popped.
Yeah, he couldn't control his pitches.
Right, he couldn't control anything. But he could throw it through a wall.
Who the hell would want to step into the batter's box? A guy throwing 110 miles an hour. You don't know if it's going to nail you in the head. He ended up with dementia.
Yeah. He looks like George the Animal Steel. He did an interview with this guy, Steve Delkowski. He looks like George the Animal Steel. One of those. But yeah, it's an interesting story.
Wait, is he still alive?
I've never heard of this fucking guy.
He's still alive?
I believe he's in the 80s.
They haven't killed him yet?
He's had difficulty remembering his life after the mid-60s. Oh, wow. Unbelievable.
Well, I think
I don't want to talk about it.
Leave me alone. I don't want to go to the zoo.
I can't do voices. I promised somebody I'd not do voices anymore.
Leave me alone. I don't want to talk about it after
Throw ball
this
fast.
career went over.
I throw ball fast.
I threw the ball fast. Then I hit a guy in the head, and then he wanted to kill me. I told him to catch it, and
But nobody's ever heard of Steve Delkowski except these, like Nolan Ryan and Goose Goss, all these famous pitchers. They all talk about this guy with awe. They're in awe of this guy. They like say and there's no film footage of this guy throwing. That's the interesting thing about this. There's nothing to watch about this guy.
Well, he played all three sports in high school.
I don't know. I never Wikipedia'd him, but I watched the documentary last night, and it was when they got to this part about Steve Delkowski. They said there's no footage of any footage of him in existing. So
wow,
interesting. It's interesting.
He did sign with the Baltimore Orioles.
Orioles, right? I think he pitched 3 innings for them only. That's
probably why you know of him, because he was out in that part of the country. I was very much into the history of baseball history, and I knew a lot of the old players, but I never heard I may have heard his name before, but never looked into him, of course. So
his baseball card's like $80 or something, $100.
Nice.
Something like that. Yeah.
Poor health in the 80s prevented him from working altogether. And by the end of the decade, he was living in a small apartment in California, penniless and suffering from alcohol, including dementia. And I guess the dude's still alive.
Still alive?
I'm going to look at images of this old goat, see what he looks like maybe today.
By the way,
I love stories like that about these legendary people you never heard of, and then you find out about them, and it's so fucking interesting to learn about these.
Before the internet, or at the dawn of the internet, the story that caught me, and now it's kind of like way oversold, and it's kind of an old one, but it was that pitcher for the Pirates who threw a no-hitter high on LSD.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
What's his name?
Bill Spaceman Lee. Bill Lee, I believe.
No.
You're talking about.
No.
Bill Spaceman Lee. I think he took LSD.
He probably did, but the guy I'm thinking of is Doc Ellis.
Doc Ellis, yes.
Yeah. What about Ollie Brown?
What's his story? I guess it's not much of a story.
No.
He's still silent.
But yeah,
thanks for that great story.
You were a beast last night. You were a beast. The last couple of shows, you've been a beast.
Well,
actually, I got to go to the eye doctor. I'm getting a helicopter to the eye doctor tomorrow.
Oh, we're already at 23 minutes, guys. What the heck?
Oh well.
That was longer than we expected.
Steve Delkowski. We're going to put Steve Delkowski on the map. I think you should. If he lives in California, why don't you look him up and do an interview with this guy?
You know what? I think I might. JP might tell him to pitch a few to him. Bent over, but.
Yeah, right. That'd be a great interview.
Open a bottle of get some
Maker's Mark
yellow wine and go over to his house.
Joe and I will treat him to a bottle of Old English.
I would get a gallon of Gallo red wine.
Manja.
How about Thunderbird? How about some Thunderbird?
Thunderbird will work. That'll work.
Hey, man, I got some. Is Thunderbird still around? By the way, the drink.
No, I don't. How about Matus? Remember that wine, Matus?
No, I don't. Matus. Made by.
We used to get high and drink Matus. Take acid and drink Matus.
Oh yeah. That sounds like a night out.
So my next show I'm going to do with you, I'm going to do recipes.
Tell us how to
Good.
make some Thunderbird.
I think I have some good. I learned some really good recipes this last week by this old lady that walks by my house. She walks her dog, and I always stop her and talk to her. And she now she tells me recipes all the time.
So tell us one. What did she tell you?
One of them was Gulliver's cream corn. I think it's or Gulliver's corn.
I'm not touching that one.
Gulliver's corn. That is fantastic, Reds.
The cream and the corn.
Cream corn.
Okay, tell us how Gulliver's corn is made.
Gulliver's.
Are we still live, by the way?
Yes,
Still live?
yes.
We are.
So this Gulliver's corn, you get frozen cream corn, I'm sorry, whole kernel corn. You're gonna cream the corn.
Niblets, right?
Niblets, and you add a bunch of butter, stick of butter. You add in half and half, and you boil it, and then you add in whipping a cup of whipping cream.
And then you go to the emergency room right after
Then you add whole milk in. Okay, and then
that'll clog an artery.
And then you bake this, and you cover it with a layer of a small layer of more corn that's it's kind of patted in flour. The flour helps give it, make it a solid instead of just like this goopy mess. So it all kind of cooks together, and then when you're done baking it, you throw some Parmesan cheese on top, and apparently you've got this fantastic Gulliver's corn. I think you could search it out online.
Why is it named Gulliver though? Because
she didn't
Gulliver
know
was a giant, right?
She didn't know, but she's an old Indian woman, and she said, I don't know why they call it Gulliver's corn.
Indian? Wool or curry?
She's a curry, and very nice, very very nice older lady, and she said that it surprisingly comes out a solid, not like this sloppy mess. And it's she said she brings it to every party. She swears by it, and every time she brings it to a party, it's a hit. And she said she never goes home with any left. So I may try some of that Gulliver's corn cake.
By the way, can I mention that January 2003 was the last day for Thunderbird wine?
Wow.
I wonder if anyone has any vintage Thunderbird wine.
How about Ripple? Did you ever drink Ripple?
Some Ripple?
I've had it. Mr. Midnight Movie. Brian, have you gone? What's the craziest alcohol you've drank?
I don't know. I'm not a big alcohol drinker.
I know that.
Neither am I.
That's why I'm asking you. What have you tried?
What have you got sick
vodka.
on? What have you got sick on? What beverage have you got sick?
Oh,
none.
That's easy for wine.
I got toasted on.
First time I ever drank
on
one.
Blackberry brandy.
Oh yeah, that's too sweet. Good Lord.
Schnapps, rock and rye.
So, Brian, have you had any alcohol?
No, I have, but I just don't. I've never been, I've never been that big on drinking, to be honest with you.
Next time you go into a bar, ask for a Rob Roy. They don't know how to make them. Nobody knows how to make them. Google Rob Roy juice producer. It's an interesting drink, Rob Roy, with a Monte Cristo.
I think we ought to bring, and this was, by the way, in 2005, the City of Seattle Council asked Washington State Liquor Board to prohibit the sale of certain alcohol products in an impoverished alcohol impact area. Among the products sought to be banned were over 24 beers and 6 wines.
What state is this?
Seattle.
Is that why I cannot find Olympia beer? What